أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Asif Ali Parvez and this is my presentation number 26. And as always, theme of my program or presentation is Holy Quran and Science. Today in this presentation, I will talk about the human eye. First of all, I want to turn to Holy Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Alhamdulillahillazi khalaqas samawati wal arda wa ja'alas sulumati wan nur. And its translation is, all praise belongs to Allah, who created the heavens and the earth and brought into being every kind of darkness and light. Surah Al-An'am, verse 2. Now, light spectrum, I showed you this in my previous program as well. Now, our eye can only see what is in between this color, which we call, and you call it as visible light. I cannot see anything apart from that. Now I want to turn to Holy Quran again. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. And its translation is, and follow not that thou hast no knowledge. Verily the ear and the eye and the heart, all these shall be called to account. Surah An-Nahl, verse 78. Now the key points are that God has said that don't follow which you have no knowledge. So either seek the knowledge from Holy Quran, or if you are a scientist through science, then you can understand and perhaps you could follow it. And the important thing Allah Ta'ala said is that our ear and eye and heart, which means brain, will be questions whatever they are doing. Now I want to mention a very famous Muslim scientist around 1000 years ago. His name is Ibn al-Haytham or Ibn al-Hasim. He was born 965, died 1040. And he was a great scientist. And he wrote a book whose name is Kitab al-Manasir, or his English translation is Book of Optics. And this book has been translated into many languages. And he was the first person, think about 1000 years ago, he understood that light is a form of a wave. And as a wave, it has two important properties, which we call as reflection. So it reflects, like when you look at a mirror, you can see your face because light reflects from your face. Light goes from your face, reflects from the mirror, and you can see yourself. And refraction is that it goes in different direction as well. Okay, now at that time, the Greek were the biggest philosophers, if I can say, and they had come, their theory was this, that something comes out of the eye, hits the object, like say person, and then reflected back from that person, goes back to the eye, and that's how we see it. But Ibn Hasan said, no, that's not true. Nothing comes out of our eyes. Light reflects from an object. Say you are looking at an apple tree, for example. So light reflects from the apple tree, comes to our eyes, and then it goes to our brain. And that's where the vision takes. Now again, think about for a minute. We're talking 1000 years ago. So great scientist. Now, I want to describe some key components in a little bit detail. What are they? This is the picture of an eye. So how does the process goes? Light enters through eye through the cornea. So this is the cornea here. So light enters through here and it passes through the pupil, which is the next one. And then there is a lens behind, which is lens is here, and it hits the lens. Lens is like, lens in your glasses, for example. So it is a lens like this. And then light go from the lens, this goes into what we call as a vitreous body. And it reaches the retina. So this is the surface of the retina, which is at the back of the eye. And that's where the image is formed. And it's very interesting to note that the image formed here is upside down. So if some person is standing here, the image on the retina will be legs are up, head is down. Amazing. Now, what Allah Ta'ala has created is that in the retina, there are special cells, and scientists or biologists have given its name as photoreceptors, which means they are sensitive to light. And there are two types of this. One is called rods, which is this one, and they detect black and white. So if the object is like say black or absolute white, and that is what is detected by the rods. And there are 130 million rods. Just think of the number. 130 million rods in the back of the retina. And the second type of photoreceptors are, which we call as cones. And they, as I said before in my previous program, they recognize three colors of light: red, blue, and green. These are what we call as the primary colors, and all other colors can be made out of it. And they are only 6 million. Now, because I'm not a medical person, I would like somebody who has a medical background or a biologist that for black and white, there are 130 million rods. And compare it with the color, only 6 million. So you can say that there are rods are nearly 25 times more. Why? I don't know the answer, but I would love to know if somebody, some doctor or some biologist could explain. The important thing is that they do, these photoreceptors, and now comes my area of physics, it creates photoelectric effect. Now, what is photoelectric effect? I will later explain in a slide. But what simple terms, what it does is light shines on it and it is converted into electricity, electric signals. Now, retina, how big is the area? Very small, around 1000 square millimeter. Yeah, square millimeter, not centimeter, millimeter. So it's a very, very small area. And as I said before, like here is a bulb, for example. So when eye sees it, it goes there. Notice it bulb is inverted now. So like, as I said, first we are looking at person, retina, legs will be up, head will be down. And then these signals, which are now converted into electric current, pass through optic nerve. And then this pass through the brain. And you see now brain has converted those electric signals into the shape of a ball. Now, a word of caution, because I'm diabetic myself. Diabetes people are prone to have problem with their retina. So, for example, I go every year for a special test in which they take a picture of my retina, very special telescope or microscope or whatever the instrument call it. But they take a picture of my retina and then every year they come with the report, is my retina. Thank God so far my retina is perfect. Now then, let's go a little bit more into how it does work. So signals are coming from these eyes, from medial and lateral, and then they cross over. So this one on the left one goes to the right side, and the right of my right, of course, it goes to the left side, and go through what is called as optic chiasm. Now, optical nerves are probably one of the, or in fact, any nerve is very important. In fact, I would say everything that God has created in human body is very, very important. But nerves are especially important because once they're damaged, they can't be repaired. And there are many things which could cause damage to the nerve, like stress is one, or glaucoma, which is a disease of eye that could damage the nerve. So look after your eye. That's my message. Now, what happens in the brain now? So as I explained, the optic nerve transmit vision signals, the signals of the photograph. They are now electric signals. So it's electricity now going to the area of brain which is called as lateral geniculate body of the brain. So that's where it goes. And then information is passed through visual cortex to the brain. So information goes here, reaches here, and that's where then brain converts those signals into a picture. And if you think about it, it happens, I wouldn't even use the phrase seconds. It happens as soon as I see something, we see it. We don't have to think about see something. This is the wonder of Allah Ta'ala. This is the blessing of Allah Ta'ala. Now, I can see 3 dimension as well. So 3 dimension are the length, the width, and the depth. So these are 3. Now each eye can detect 3D, but if we use both eyes, then obviously vision is much, much clearer. So if I close one eye, I can still see 3D, but it is a little bit fuzzy. A funny thing or interesting thing is that each eye only see 2D. And then brain converts into 3D using many techniques, parallax techniques, image sharpness technique, etc., etc. Now, photoelectric effect I mentioned, so let me explain. Photoelectric effect is this, that when the photon, the light, hits certain metals, let me use, like for example, cesium, or in eye, the nerves, the cells, photoelectric cells, this photon knocks out an electron. So the electric current is stored. Now we use this in commercial as well, like I'm showing you satellite, and these are the 2 solar panels. And solar panel gets light from the sun, and they create electricity, because no way we can take cables all the way, 10,000 miles or 1,000 miles up. So that's how we create electricity, and electricity our instrument cannot work. Now, I must say is a great blessing of Allah. So my message is take care of it. And God have given this tissue heal very, very quickly. So if you have a scar on your, for example, on your skin, it takes many days, but on eyes, it heals itself with a few hours. So if something goes into your eye, the rule is clean, wash it with a clean water. And if you are a handyman like me, always use goggles. Now, tears comes from eye, if there is a sad thing we cry, or if there is happiness sometimes we do cry. But tears are very important for eyes, because they are like, the wipers of the car. So they clean the eyes and keep it moist. And laser, I've already mentioned, can treat the eyes. I want to share my personal experience with you. It was maybe 55 plus years ago. I was once traveling on a train from Chennai, from Lailpur or Faisalabad, we call it now, to Rabbo. When the train was about to cross Chennai, it has not reached there. That's one town before Rabbo. All of a sudden, I turned blind. Naturally, I was very shocked that I couldn't see anything. So my first reaction was I must drink something cold. So I stepped out of train so I could buy some drink. Then I realized that if train had moved, I will be left in Chennai. So I went back train. And the other passenger realized something is wrong with me. And I said, look, I can't see anything. And in those days, and probably it's true nowadays as well, there are people who are selling cold drinks in the train. So I managed to buy some from them. I drank them, and my eye recovered. And I went to the optician and went to the hospital, just find out they couldn't see. So again, I say it was a shocking experience, but that have told me I must look afar. And Alhamdulillah, I'm over 70 now. I still don't wear glasses. Only if I'm doing a long drive, then I wear glasses. But now, Mr. D, I don't. Now, in my next program, I will talk about the darkness number 4, which is called ultraviolet rays, and that will be discussed in the program number 7. Thank you very much for listening to me. Jazakallah khair. God bless you. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.